Hey everyone, Sergio with the Rideshare guy from Curbivore 2026. I'm joined by Jon Miller of Nexar, a good friend of Rideshare guy as well as Show Me the Money Club. So John, welcome to Curbivore.
Thanks so much for having me, and it's good to be here again.
Absolutely. So Nexar is my preferred dash cam provider. As I say literally every week to every rideshare driver that I meet or talk to, you must have a dash cam. Without a dash cam, you're operating in the blind, regardless of if you're driving 10 hours or 100 hours a week. So, John, we talked last year. There's some new developments, probably new hardware as well, and more importantly, new software. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the first thing that I just want to reiterate is whether it's Nexar or some other dashcam company, I wholeheartedly agree with your perspective that every rideshare driver, gig driver, needs to have a dashcam. Why do they need to have a dashcam? There's a couple of reasons for it. I would say the first reason is your livelihood ultimately depends on it, right? Think about a scenario where you are in a vehicle and a passenger reports back to Lyft that you were harassing them, and they're lying, and you weren't. You're going to be going against their word, and Uber and Lyft realistically are going to side with the passenger. If you have video evidence of what happens in the cabin, then you're exonerated. If you're not, you're going to be deactivated for up to 45 days, and that's thousands of dollars outside of your pocket. The other reason is outside of the vehicle, right? If there's an accident and you don't capture it on video, it's your word against the insurance company's word. And again, you're probably not going to win that battle. And so these claims can cost thousands of dollars, and in order to stay on the road, having a dash cam gives you that peace of mind and the evidence that you need to be exonerated when you're not at fault, and you need to prove that that's the case.
So Nexar was kind enough to send me some of their hardware, but there's different levels of hardware for different budgets. So let's quickly talk a little bit about the different levels and what they are and the cost involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe I'll give a little bit of macro perspective, because rideshare drivers might be trying to understand, okay, there's inflation, but it seems like hardware and dash cams, the prices are increasing, like even more so than other commodities, goods, and services in the U.S. Why is that happening? The reason that's happening is because of the acceleration of AI, which is drastically increasing the price of RAM and memory.
Yep.
And so what you're probably seeing is the prices of dash cams skyrocketing. And what we've done at Nexar is, one, we've ensured that we can maintain an extremely strong level of inventory of some of our older models, so that we can maintain the same pricing because we've already purchased them, they're already on hand, we don't need to increase prices. And so we have a suite of cameras called the Nexar Pro and the Nexar Beam that both fall below $100 or maybe a little bit above $100. We also have inventory on hand for what we call connected cameras. These are connected by LTE. They're much more powerful. They're guaranteed to capture your incident, and they come with a lot more features. These also, we've done an incredible job of managing through the supply chain crisis that we're dealing with and maintaining our prices in a range that they're affordable for rideshare drivers. So you can still get an extremely powerful connected Nexar dashcam for about $120 to $150. If you want the in-cabin facing view, which I highly recommend, it starts trending towards about $200.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about hardware. Let's talk about software, right? AI is part of everyday life these days. And I highly recommend, by the way, go get the LTE model. Don't fuss around with SD cards and this and that. Have it upload to the cloud. That's the best way to do it. That's the way I do it. So let's talk a little bit about software. You were just on a panel. You talked about it. I like the name of it. So what was just released and what should we be looking forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the other part of Nexar's business is that from all of the years of data that we're able to anonymize and aggregate together, we've actually been able to build our own collision anticipation models. And what we're naming it is BADAS. It stands for Beyond ADAS. Now, you might be asking, what's the difference between Beyond ADAS, which Nexar just launched Badass 2.0 yesterday, and a standard ADAS system that you might find in any vehicle? Traditional ADAS systems are built on a much more rule-based approach. So if you turn here, or if there's a hard brake there, then you must do this. The problem with that is you can't drive possibly enough miles to capture enough data to anticipate every single scenario that's going to happen on the road. That's why most ADAS systems today will just beep at you aggressively, because they want to be conservative and they want to make sure that they're making you aware of risk, even if it doesn't exist. What Badass has done is it's essentially observed 10 billion miles of driving data and learn from all of those experiences to alert you and to anticipate risk only when it's actually imminent. So our false positive rate is only 4%, well below pretty much all industry benchmarks. And Badass provides so much value, whether you're a fleet manager that's trying to use it for driver scoring, whether you're an insurance company that's trying to adjudicate a claim, whether you're a driver that's trying to exonerate yourself of an insurance claim. Badass is able to essentially pinpoint who is at fault in a specific accident. It's able to analyze driver behavior in a way that really the industry's never seen before, and we're extremely excited to have launched Badass 2.0 yesterday.
Yeah, so those are some of the new developments from Nexar's point of view. And Jon, good to see you again, hopefully again next year. And you'll keep us posted with what's coming up, obviously. There is one thing in our country, right? It's innocent until proven guilty. In rideshare, it works the other way around. It's guilty until you can prove yourself innocent, and the only way to prove yourself innocent is going to be with dashcam footage. Because, what did Zach Greenberg, your CEO, say when he was on our show? Pictures worth 1,000 words, videos worth 1,000,000 words. So there you go.
It couldn't agree more. And again, if I could leave you with anything, I don't care if you get a Nexar. Sorry, that's not true. I do care if you get a Nexar dashcam, but get a dashcam in general. It's really important for your livelihood, for your earnings, for your safety. Thanks so much for having me. It's always a pleasure, and we will stay in touch as always.
Absolutely. Have a great day.